Hi guys, Lynn Idris here. I wanted to pop in one more time with a quick video to share a really simple practice to plan your weeks quickly and easily so that you get what really matters to you done with plenty of time and energy to spare. I call it my productivity power up practice. It's a focus and energy saving trick to getting the right stuff done in less time. It's an impactful process that I use myself and one that I teach my clients to create more ease and flow in their weeks and get the important stuff they need and want to do done more quickly and easily. It's really simple, but it's been a game changer for me and for my clients, and you can do it in just a few minutes each week. I'll explain the strategy for you really quickly, and I invite you to try it out for yourself and register to join my mini workshop Thursday, January 19th at 4 o'clock Eastern. It will be a real live working session where we'll roll up our sleeves together to take it further and deeper and make sure you can implement it for yourself in your actual life. Okay. As I often say, information and education are important, but alone, they rarely change behaviors. If you aren't able to apply what you're learning in your actual life, it's never going to help you make the kind of changes you want to make and make them last. So, watch this short video and then click the button below the video to register for the workshop. And be sure to bring your calendar and your to do list and any challenges you might have had as you've applied the strategy yourself. The whole point of this strategy is to help you get the things that really matter done more consistently and more easily so that they're not hanging over your head all the time, causing you stress and guilt and shame. Just yesterday, I was talking to a potential client. I'll call her Robin. And like so many people I talked to, Robin came to me for help with productivity. And when I was asking her more about what she really wanted and why, she said she was tired of having all of her undone to dos hanging over her head all the time. Like just about every client I work with, she said she wanted to enjoy her life more, to be really off when she wasn't working so that she could be present with the people and the things that she cares most about. And that's what this strategy is all about. So here's my productivity power up practice. It's actually a two-part process that I'll walk you through both parts, all right? So I want you to grab your to-do list and your calendar. And the first thing I want you to do is just pick 1 to 3 things max, 1 to 3 max that you want to make some progress on in the coming week. All right. Now look at your calendar and find some open space where you can plug in time this week to do something to take care of those 1 to 3 things. All right. I want you to block some open space in your calendar so that it doesn't get scheduled over by you or anybody else. Okay. We're going to protect that time. That's your time. Okay. Don't get hung up on how long it should take or trying to estimate how much time you need. This is about making more time than you have been. All right. Any chunk of time you can carve out, you can protect, you can block to make some progress is probably better than what you've been doing with those things right now, or you wouldn't be watching this. Don't worry about doing it the right way, guys. Worry about doing it at all. Okay? This is a place to start. So try to take some pressure off yourself, allow yourself to experiment. And if it's something on your to-do list that's been hanging out there for a while and you block 1 hour to work on it, that's some pretty big progress, right? Just schedule some time, some chunk of time for each of those 1 to 3 things. I simply call this time blocking. It's literally blocking time on your calendar and protecting it so that you can move something important forward. It's not just listing to-dos in your calendar. You guys have probably all done that. It's much more intentional and thoughtful than that. And I'm going to tell you up front, just so that you expect it, this is probably going to be a bit awkward. It's probably going to be a bit uncomfortable the first few times you do it. But it's like anything else, guys. The more you do it, the easier and faster it gets, and the more you know how to make it work for you. Okay? Next, grab something to write on and with, and write down the name of each of those 1 to 3 things you just picked, and jot down somewhere between 1 and 5 activities or actions that are related to each of those areas. Not all the things, not all the steps, not all the to dos. Okay, just a few specific tasks or actions, next action steps that are going to be steps toward progress on whatever it is you've picked for those 1 to 3 things. All right. And the more clear, the more concise and specific those actions are, the better. Okay. And it's okay if they're really, really small steps, right? Sometimes we need to start very small, get some more clarity around what we're doing, and get some traction. So it's important to remind yourself, if you're pushing back against that or you're resisting that, every step counts. Now, I want you to plug one or a few of those steps, those activities, those tasks into that time block for that thing. Just a few of the activities or steps that you've listed for each one of the things you want to block time for. Put them in the time block for that thing. Plug it right into your calendar with those clear actions and steps for each time block. What's important about this is when you get to that time block, you already have very specific steps that you've decided to take. Okay. And as I often say, you have the clarity of focus and clarity of action for that allotted time that's going to make it easier for you to get going. The more clarity you have for what you're going to do when you get to that time, the easier it is to take action. You don't have to make decisions. You don't have to organize any information or put anything in a particular order or sequence. You can just do. So here's the deal, guys, just really quick. All of the stuff, all of the things that you do when you decide what you're going to do and in what order you're going to do them, all of that mental organization of information, all of that thinking, all of that planning, all of that deciding is executive function processing. And that happens in the same part of your brain and uses the same pool of energy that getting started on those things takes. So when you do all of that executive function processing, all of that deciding in advance, you have more mental energy to help you get started. Okay. Again, that's what I call time blocking your calendar. That's it. All right. Not deciding what you're going to do in advance for every minute of every day. That kind of restrictive, I often call it magical thinking type of planning, never works for my clients. So, all that you're doing when you're planning is giving yourself direction for your days and your weeks. And this kind of weekly setup using time blocking for a very small number of high value activities is an extremely effective and efficient way to make sure that the things that really matter get done. Okay. So you're blocking time in your calendar for 1 to 3 max important things that you're not moving forward, and you're picking specific activities or actions that are related to each of those things and plugging them into those time blocks. Okay, that's it. That's the first part. That's what I call time blocking. Now, the second part is a little bit more advanced. Try it if you want. If not, just listen and try the time blocking. Okay. This is what I call task batching, and it works really well with time blocking. So it's a good complementary process. So when you can, try to pick activities or tasks to do in a time block that use similar kinds of focus and thinking. We know that when we switch activities or move between different areas of focus, we waste a lot of mental energy. Okay. Transitions burn that same executive function fuel, and they have a high cost in focus and energy. So, this is especially problematic when we move back and forth from one kind of activity to another, when those activities require different kinds of focus and processing. I hope this is making sense. I'll explain it more on the workshop. A simple example, like moving from reconciling your bank account to writing or editing a document, right? Those are very different kinds of processing. So you're burning lots and lots of unnecessary energy and focus when you switch from one to the other, which also makes the tasks take more out of you and take more time. So when you're picking activities, things you're going to plug into your time blocks, or planning what you're going to do in your days and weeks, make a conscious effort to plan to do similar kinds of activities together, like back to back. For example, if you create a time block for, let's say, admin work on Friday, which is when I block my admin time, you make or have your list of admin tasks that need to be done. And when you're setting up your week and you're blocking your time, try to pick from that list activities or tasks that require similar kinds of focus to do in succession, so that you're working more effectively and efficiently and you have more energy and focus left over. So, for example, I could reconcile some bank accounts, return some administrative emails, make some admin related phone calls, pay bills, enter accounts receivable, filing, updating passwords, and so on, right? So from that list, as I'm setting up my week and my time block, I like to pick the things that require similar kinds of processing. So I would do my accounts receivable and maybe reconcile my bank accounts and then pay bills if there's time left over. Okay. Or I could, uh, I could let me think. I could reconcile my bank account and my personal bank accounts, my business account and my personal accounts in the same time block, because once I get on a roll and get transitioned in, I know that that tends to go faster and be more efficient. Or I can do something else. I can make a list of personal and business phone calls and start knocking them out. Because phone calls can be hard for a lot of us, right? But they get easier once we make that first one. Sometimes I'll do all different kinds of writing related activities in one time block, because as I go, it gets easier. So maybe I'll write a podcast and then a newsletter, then a blog post, and maybe a more lengthy email response too. Or I'll write or record a few podcasts or blog posts or whatever all in one sitting. Again, because it takes less transition time and less focus and energy. So there are lots of different variations and ways to do this. And we'll take this further on Thursday's workshop. But I'm giving you a place to start with these basics. Okay. This is one of those things that is simple, but not necessarily easy, especially in the beginning. So some of you are going to know right away what those 1 to 3 things are that you want to block time for. And some of you are going to have a hard time figuring that out. But it's about more intentionally moving things forward, not trying to do all the things at once, right? That's how we get overwhelmed, shut down, and do the things that are low value. There's no perfect way to do this. What matters is that you do it, right? So if you're overwhelmed by it right out of the gate, watch the video again, slow it down or speed it up or whatever you prefer, and focus on just the steps for the time blocking part for now. All right. I really want you to give this a try. Give it a try today. Set your coming week up and give yourself permission to try it imperfectly and be curious about how it goes. I want you to think about this as experimentation. Experiment with blocking time in your calendar to move some of those important activities forward and to help you get super clear on your focus and your actions for those time blocks. And batch your activities in those blocks if you want to give that a try too, or at different times of your day so that you can see how it works for you. But the most important thing I want you to do is this. No matter what you're trying or how, I want you to make sure you take a few seconds every single day to stay curious and ask yourself what happened with the time block and why. Don't beat yourself up if it doesn't go well or if it's hard for you or if you forget or whatever. That's not going to help you solve the problem, and it's not going to help you move the important things forward. So stay curious and try to collect some data you can work with, so to speak. Make notes, bring those observations to the workshop on Thursday, and let me help you work out your gaps. Let me help you work out any challenges you're having with it. Okay. So remember, Thursday is a real live highly interactive working session with live mentoring and coaching. We're going to roll up our sleeves together. We're going to do the work together. We're going to take this to the next level. Again, with live coaching and extra additional tips and troubleshooting, so that I can help you show up in the way you intend more consistently and get the right things done more easily with time and energy to spare. That's what this is all about. That's what the work I do is all about. Okay, guys? So click the button below or go to the link on your screen, www.adhdevents.com/powerup, all one word, to register for the live workshop. Give it a try for yourself and join me live on Thursday. Make sure you bring your calendar, make sure you bring your to-do list, make sure you bring your challenges and your questions, what works well for you, what doesn't. Take some time to evaluate and make some observations, and then bring them to me so that I can help you. All right. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. I hope you give the strategy a try, and I look forward to helping you make it work for you. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.